who has developed the very first and only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma form of iodine in the world. You'll see advertisements, television, radio, magazines, telling you that they have an alternative to Nutrimedicine, and they don't. And we're going to go over some of the specifics here. It's actually an article. I can still hear the music playing. That's a long bumper. Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm still connected. I can hear myself. Okay, are we connected again, John? Good, we're back, and if you're thinking that there's an alternative to Nutrimedicine, a Tesla-activated monatomic iodine, there isn't. You might have heard in commercials on this network and elsewhere, people telling you those things. They're unqualified people who are telling you lies. And I want to go over some of the science because our engineer John here has developed the first and only Tesla-activated Edgar Cayce monatomic iodine. I'm quoting an article by Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who's actually a good colleague of mine. He belongs to some of the same academies. And, of course, his article is the Universal and Holistic Supermineral. Well, Dr. Cousins knows a lot about it, but I've been, you want to call it, one of the grandfathers of thyroid and iodine metabolism. I started my research back 35 years ago with the head of pathology at the University of Calgary when I was working there. And what I was doing, I brought the test called the T3 and the reverse T3 test from Germany, as well as Proteolin challenge test, which is TRH. Proteolin, this is a very interesting mineral, peptide. Proteolin is present in every living species, including both fish, notochords in the ocean, vertebrates and invertebrates. It's everywhere. In the fetus, it's present in every tissue. The fetus is the most fast and rapidly growing organism, and when it's growing, it has the highest rate of what's called apoptosis. Apoptosis is getting rid of old or damaged cells and replacing with healthy new tissues. That's why if you put Nutrimedicine on a wound or a burn, like our little girl we referred to the other day that had a third-degree burn to her foot, she'll literally regenerate the tissue as if the burn wasn't there, right down from bone and regenerating muscle, ligament, nerves, etc. It's pretty amazing. The other aspect is, of course, the whole theory that I'm going to be presenting this coming December. My article's just about finished on the, if you want to call it, the signal-to-noise ratio of aging, which incorporates all of the previous theories, including free radical theories, the telomere theory, the idea of free radicals, all the different 7 steps by the Zero Senescence Foundation with Aubrey de Grey. The most important mineral in your body, and of course I agree with Dr. Cousins, iodine is not only stimulates the formation of T4, but also T3, reverse T3, T2, etc. The 5' deiodinase converts the pre-hormone T4. So if your doctor is giving a Synthroid or levothyroxine, your doctor is ignorant. It is not a hormone. It's a pre-hormone. It's not until it's converted to T3, which has 4,000 times more avidity for the T3 receptor, which is a lock and key on your crystal galli of your mitochondria. So it's really important to understand that. It reverses not only hyperthyroidism, which is overactive thyroid, usually caused by a virus like an adeno or gland virus, or a toxic situation. And it also reverses hypothyroidism, whether it's an autoimmune hypothyroidism or TRS, thyroid resistance syndrome, which is affiliated with obesity and diabetes and adrenal dysfunction. It supports not only apoptosis, which is a major factor in aging. If you get rid of if you get rid of old soldiers by retiring them and bringing new soldiers, your army is still as young and effective. The same with the army of tissues and cells in your body. It also helps prevent cancer. It helps prevent cells that are stressed from becoming cancer cells. So very important, and it'll help reverse and create apoptosis when you combine it with things like our Power C, minoquinone 7, full vitamin K2, ellagic acid, which is 300 times more ellagic acid in the terminella chibulia plant and pomegranate, for protecting your artery walls and reversing them, protecting and reversing DNA, and along with malignant block, those 3 biggies, minoquinone 7, full vitamin K2, ellagic acid, and malignant block to stimulate apoptosis. But the most powerful agent of all is Nutrimedicine. And literally, I have a glass sitting with water on my desk, sipping Nutrimedicine and water all day long. And you better be doing it because you're now being hit with radiotoxins. It also helps to block the scalar radiation from cell phones. John, this is pretty amazing what it does. It kills all the pathogens in your body, molds, yeast, fungi, viruses, nanobacteria. It'll kill off you can put it in a new HydroFloss, which I was off to my dentist yesterday and I got the new HydroFloss machine. Take your HydroFloss machine or your Sinupulse Elite for clearing out your sinuses, put Nutridyne in it. The HydroFloss is nice because it changes the charge in the particles to try to pull the plaque off your teeth. But Nutridyne kills nanobacteria, which are the same little bugs that are in your gums and your tooth pockets around your gums. And the arteries around your brain and your heart. So if you're getting plaque in your arteries, it's because you have plaque around your teeth. And Nutridyne gets rid of it. So the most effective way to get rid of plaque is using HydroFloss with Nutridyne. Pretty amazing. HydroFloss. In fact, we'll hopefully be getting a link up. So John, tell us about that. When you see the amount of uses for Nutridyne, it is by far the most important nutraceutical we have at Nutrimedical, and there aren't any copies. I mean, I hear lots of people flogging their ridiculous forms, iota caps, iodarol, iodine, protector, whatever. I don't know what names they use, but all kinds of weird names. They don't know what they're talking about. They have diatomic forms. They have forms that are laced with heavy metals. They've got low energy forms that don't have the same electromagnetic or plasma signature. It just isn't the same. And in fact, if you take many of these forms like iodides, like potassium iodide, it actually is toxic and cause cardiac arrhythmias. It can cause hyperthyroidism for a time and then hypo because it can produce a hypothyroid syndrome. And it can cause a retinopathy, damage to the retina in the back of your eyes. Nutridyne does the opposite. It protects your cells and tissues. It regenerates tissues. It gets rid of old damaged cells. It helps repair DNA. It helps even block scalar radiation from cell phones and Wi-Fi networks. So tell us some of the reasons why you think it does so many of these things, because it's not at all the same. And it's the only thing to get rid of fluoride, chloride, and bromide. People say, how do I get the fluoride and chloride out of my body? Take our Xenoestrogen Detox and NutriDefense, those are the first two, and you got to take Nutridyne. If you're thinking you're going to get rid of higher energy molecules like fluoride and chloride and bromide and using regular iodine, it's ridiculous. The regular iodine is not the same level of what's called electrophilicity in the chemical terms as these other molecules. It just isn't. Fluoride and chloride and bromide are more powerful in their natural state than regular iodine unless it's Tesla activated, which your body does to a very minor extent. So, John, tell us some of the science that you know about this iodine.
Yes, Dr. Bell. It really is a powerful activity in the body. Once we put it through the Tesla fields, the iodine has an extra amount of energy based with breaking the molecule, and that iodine is able to change the body and affect those. I have a reverberation on this phone right now.
Yeah, I can hear a little reverberation too, kind of like a modulation. I don't know why that's happening. Maybe something with the studio or your phone. I can hear a little one, but it's still coming through clear.
Yes,
it eliminates
very powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah, it gets rid of halide toxins too. It gets radiotoxins, radioiodine 131 and 134. It gets rid of. It protects your mitochondria from all the other radiotoxins, 200 plus radiotoxins, whether it's strontium-90 or americium or technetium-99. It helps to block and protect your mitochondria. It helps you get rid of old damaged mitochondria, which can generate free radicals and generate new mitochondria. It's called mitochondriogenesis. The most powerful stimuli for making new mitochondria is Nutridyne. And if you want to live well and long, it's like that saying of Spock, live long and prosper. It's your mitochondria that determine if you're going to live long and prosper. And our iodine is the only one that will regenerate mitochondrial function, regenerate your cells and tissues, along with our Mountain Red Velvet, Collagen Max, and other anti-aging formulas. It's the most important single thing you can take every day for pregnant mothers to grandmothers and grandfathers, to people that are sick or super athletic or people who want to just restore their health and detox. There's nothing more important for everybody, including your pets.
Hi, John.
And welcome back. And John, we were talking on the break about using things for things like Lyme disease and some of the other nasty things, chikungunya, babesiosis. We actually shipped over 300 vials of Nutridyne to Liberia. And our health professionals that were working in the Christian ministry called Ragma, and all the villagers that received Nutridyne, not one got Ebola, not one.
Wow.
Pretty powerful. There is no such thing as a pathogen that will not die when exposed to Nutridyne, period. It's the most powerful, and here's the protocol, which I'm in the process of updating them all as part of doing the book, and I'm adding additional information that it's in the book that's not in the wellness conditions yet. The very first thing is Nutridyne. You want to take 10 to 20 drops 3 to 4 times a day, and usually recommended in water. We are recommending the Nutrimune capsules. People like that better than the powder, so we're basically discontinuing the Immunomax powder, but we have the Nutrimune in the capsules. It's also in Ageless, which we're continuing, Ageless chocolate and vanilla. The Silver 100 spray and Allison Med, 1 to 2 capsules 3 times a day. Now, you have to buffer the brain and the mitochondria and the tissues from free radicals, so we have Cognition Plus, 2 capsules at least twice a day. Myco D2, which is the oncomycin, it's 5 different mushrooms that help to stimulate regeneration of your tissues and to block free radicals. You want to take the free radical blockers, Nutritrella, Regenerex, and Cell Detox Glutathione. The most important of those 3 for your brain is Cell Detox Glutathione. You want to be taking the Brain Power and Cognition Plus, and you can also add Synaptin, which is another product we carry, Calm Mind, and Brain Mag, which we just added. The Brain Mag magnesium L-threonate with magnesium glycinate malate, the Calm Mind with myo-inositol, GABA, and it's just the most amazing formulas, combinations. CoQ10 Supreme and CoQ10 Ubiquinol for your brain. And to stop the reaction as you kill off the pathogens, you got to buffer it. The high dose Power C, at least I would recommend 6 capsules 3 times a day, and for every 3 capsules of Power C, 1 minute quinone 7 or full vitamin K2, and lots of ellagic acid, 2 ellagic acid 3 times a day, 2 Maligna Block, which is the sulforaphane glycosinolate to repair your DNA, all 3 of those products. And the Allergon and Aller Block. The Allergon is the non-stating antihistamine. The Aller, it's the antihistamine enzyme actually that gets rid of the histamine and IL-1 beta. And the Aller Block, which is a non-stating antihistamine. Cell Defense, very important anti-inflammatory and Inflamex. And I recommend that people take NutriDefense. This is probably one of the most important in terms of the protocol because it stops free radicals better than anything and boosts your immune system to help get rid of the Lyme, is NutriDefense, which I designed, and it also strips off any co-pathogens, because a lot of time you don't just have Lyme or babesiosis, you have other co-pathogens present, other viruses, other bacteria, and so on, and you need to boost your immune system. And, of course, we talked about mitochondrial support. We have now the VascuCare, which is a new form of carnitine, more powerful than our previous one, mitocarnitine, which is a glycine. This is a straight propionyl L-carnitine, mitochondrial catalysts. And we have, of course, for rebuilding your organs and tissues, NutriFos, extremely important, and Neurogen for rebuilding solid organs and cell membranes. MyCell D3, otherwise your cells and T cells can't work. And, of course, the Vitamineral Max Minerals Plus. And also for building mitochondrial function, triacetyl uridine, which is the uridine, and magnesium taurate. And there's energetic technologies for people with Lyme. I recommend that people take you can use the transcranial lumen photon and now micropulse therapy and mild hyperbaric oxygen, because Lyme is not an easy thing to defeat. When it's deeply in your body, it's intracellular. And a lot of people think, well, I can just take 1 or 2 things, Doc. Well, if you can only afford 3 things, here's the 3 things you need. You need to take Nutridyne, Cognition Plus, and Cell Detox Glutathione. If that's all you say, look, Doc, give me the 3 things I can afford. Those are the 3 things. Cell Detox Glutathione, Nutridyne is number 1, and Cognition Plus. And you're going to start recovering, because you have to have a recovery of your brain and your mitochondria. And the doctors that use conventional drugs like minocycline or oxytetracycline, they fail because they don't get rid of all the intracellular organisms. They don't resurrect your mitochondria, which are continually being damaged. They don't resurrect cellular and energy and cellular regeneration, getting rid of old damaged tissue and cells and DNA. So as a result, they don't get recovery. And a lot of times they stop the drugs. Of course, doctors that give more than a month of any of these medications, their state medical board, a licensing authority, will often pull their license, even though they've proven now that these are real diseases and these people get really sick. And there's immunology tests like the iSpot Lyme test and the immunosciences test in Los Angeles that can prove it. But by and large, the people that populate the state medical boards are basically people that could not defend a PhD thesis, do not have the brains or the capacity of compassion to actually find the cause of illness, and really should not be in a position of authority. By and large, these people are political animals that like to play politics with medicine, and there's always a body count when that's done. And if you want to challenge me on that and you think you know better than Dr. Deagle, I can quote all the advanced immunology research labs I work with over 3.5 decades and show you all the lab tests that can prove that what I'm saying is absolutely true. But when you're dealing with state medical boards or hospital privileges committees, you're dealing with people that by and large are not the smartest rock in the bucket. What do you think, John?
I think that's correct.
It is correct, and it's part of the reason why, as I say, I have a health plan for America. And when I get to Rand Paul, I'd like to send in my advisement on a whole lot of different issues. Healthcare should be number one, where we firstly train the public, so you become doctor, you out there, you can become a good health consumer. You are the first person to treat yourself. If you go to a physician, yes, there are things the doctor does that are necessary. 20% of drugs are useful in 20% of conditions, and the 80% are dangerous in any condition. Doctors often don't do the proper investigations. When I hear someone saying I got cancer, the gold standard is a spiral CT and PET scan within 48 hours, a karyotype analysis under ultrasound-directed needle biopsy seen by a pathologist under scanning and electron microscopy, and advanced immunology and genetic tests done like the ones in Cambridge, Massachusetts, to determine which genes are activated causing your cancer. The most effective treatment that I've heard so far is a combination of our total NUTRIMEDS for cancer, our NutriMed protocol, and granulocyte therapy, where you go to one of the clinics. If you contact me, I'll direct you. I got 2 consults yesterday just on cancer alone. So many others. I do a lot of work every day, free by the way, to all of our customers. Direct them to a specific cancer clinic that they'll be able to get granulocyte therapy. They draw blood from one of their relatives that has matched blood groups, pull out a specific class of white cells called granulocytes, and that's say 20-year-old or 25-year-old. Give it to the person with cancer with a little intravenous, no chemotherapy. They might get intravenous Laetrile or other nutritional support, other than our NutriMed line for anti-cancer, which are universal. Everybody with cancer should be in our full NutriMed line. And that will knock out your cancer. A lot of people don't want to go to, first certainly don't do what we call paint by numbers chemo. And if you're going to do any kind of chemo, you need to do gene-based chemotherapy with the Brzezinski Clinic, but it's very expensive and can cause some toxicity, but far less than the paint-by-numbers chemo. I recommend our NutriMeds and granulocyte therapy in Mexico, a fraction of the cost with high success. Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report. We're always searching around for the best products at the best prices to make you well. And one of those amazing things is the VibraSlim. And we've literally dropped the price now, $400. Free shipping in the United States. VibraSlim, and I had a call the other day. Someone said to me, Chris, about VibraSlim, well, why would I want to buy this? Is it as good as these $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 or $10,000 machines, which you can easily blow $10,000 or $20,000? In fact, if you get one of the big vibrational ones called the Vibra, what's it called? It's a sonic machine. You can, a couple of years ago, you could easily blow $25,000 or $30,000. The VibraSlim is a number of features. First off, you don't have middlemen and all kinds of people doing it, so it's sale direct to the public. So the price compared to, say, the Power Plate, which is about $7,000, $8,000, it's actually a better machine because it's modular. If something breaks down, you can change the panel. The motor doesn't break down. It's literally lifetime. So if you had any problem with the motor, but any parts for 3 years, or you're going to replace them. Someone asked me yesterday, they said, well, Doc, what does this do to your body? I said, well, it does a number of things that are completely unique compared to any other kind of exercise. It stops falls. It improves proprioception. It improves lymphatic blood flow. It stimulates growth hormone and the hormones to stop depression. It stimulates your collagen, elastin, and bone density. It releases the hormones that regulate your set point to lower your set point to a lower body weight. If you're overweight, no matter what other kind of exercise you do, and you do need exercise, a walking program, better than we call high-intensity exercise. For example, I hear people saying the best thing for weight loss is high-intensity exercise. Well, the best is vibrational exercise. If you want to lose body weight, especially if you have insulin resistance or obesity, you need to be on it 10 to 20 minutes at least a day. And 10 minutes is equivalent to an hour of aerobics. The total body fat loss compared to research studies of volumetric studies in Europe shows it's something like 3 times more actual fat loss than any other kind of exercise, and it defends a lower set point. So it's pretty darn amazing. It's like, why would you even consider any other kind of machine? And do you want to spend $5,000 or $10,000 on something that could break down and may not be modular or won't have the service here in America? It's made in China, so not made where you have the VibraSlim made, where it's in a high-quality production facility. Tell us the features. Why would someone want a VibraSlim compared to any other vibrational platform, and why vibrational exercise compared to just going to the gym? I mean, I tell people you're way better off to get a VibraSlim and use their resistance bands and maybe get some body elastic bands to do what I call vibrational calisthenics. That's what I do. That's my main exercise. I can go on the treadmill too, but you have to do vibration exercises first to prepare, to re-chiropractic, to pop your joints back in, to stimulate tissue regeneration and healing, to remobilize stem cells. Your stem cells are mobilized by vibrational therapy. It's right up there with hyperbaric oxygen and our Silver 100 to mobilize stem cells. So why VibraSlim? How's that?
Well, VibraSlim's been around for 9 years. This makes us about the second oldest company in the business. We are one of the innovators, and there's lots of copycats out there, and lots of them are trying to charge a lot of money for their machines. We sell a home machine that's of commercial quality. So the same machine that you buy for your home for $12.99 is the same machine that goes into gyms, hospitals, clinics, chiropractor's office. It's the exact same machine. It can handle all-day use all the time and just run faithfully. You never have to worry about it. We've also, because we've been in the longest, we've done the most research. We've worked with doctors, Olympic athletes, professional athletes all over the world. And over the past 8 or 9 years, we've made lots of upgrades and changes due to our findings, including making the machine more effective, making it more reliable, making everything. So, we've really perfected the machine, which now it has a lifetime motor warranty. That the machine just works. And if you ever do have any problem, like you said, it's modular. You pull a couple screws off, the piece comes off, we send you the new one. It's up and running in a couple minutes. So that's very different than everyone else. Everyone else will make you send the machine back when it breaks. And every other machine is made in China. They will break down, and you will have to deal with this nightmare of. And we get calls all the time from people who have been through this, so we're well aware of
I'm sure
how other companies
deal
with these issues. But the good thing with VibraSlim, we almost never have any repairs because the machine's just built tough. It's built with quality steel, electronics, bearings, rubber. Everything on it is top notch. So you just don't have to worry about it. And you're going to get the best results. We've sold tens of thousands of machines over the past almost decade, and we have a lot of happy customers out there who continually spread the word for us. They're our best advertisements.
Yeah, if you've got chronic back pain, I just got a request yesterday about a gentleman who has chronic back pain, bad joint pain. You can get on a VibraSlim and start exercising when you're in pain, and it'll start taking the pain away. It releases endorphins, norepinephrine, beta-endorphin in your brain. It stimulates the realignment of your body. If you start doing squats and other movements, you'll start to getting proprioceptive movement control. So around your facet joints in your back, your knee, with your patellar glide of your prepatellar bursa, everything starts to become more aligned properly. It actually, if you're doing stretches, starts to pop your vertebrae and your rib heads back into proper location with muscle firing patterns. So it's like microchiropractic, Pilates exercises, and it has a cardiac effect. And this is what's interesting. Although you're not raising the heart rate tremendously, it helps to stimulate your blood vessels, which primarily pump the blood around your body, so it has this aerobic effect without stressing your heart. So let's say you have heart disease or hypertension, you're worried about your blood pressure going into orbit when you exercise. The VibraSlim will give you vascular exercise with the increased nitric oxide output, because it stimulates nitric oxide. It helps to improve the blood vessel peristaltic movement of blood, so your blood pressure starts to drop. So VibraSlim, combined with our nutraceuticals for blood pressure like Cardiovasc, Gamma E+, magnesium taurate, magnesium glycinate, malate, etc., the VibraSlim will lower pressures, improve perfusion of tissues, improve lymphatic pumping to detoxify your body, and it actually gives you a cardiovascular effect without stressing your heart. That's really neat. I mean, it actually stimulates your heart and blood vessels to work much more efficiently, and to have that peristaltic muscle contraction that allows the blood to flow around your body. I've explained this on the program before, that it's not your heart alone that pumps the blood. It's your heart as a primary wave generator. The secondary wave are your arteries and your arterioles and your capillaries and the returning venules and then veins that return to the right atrium of the heart. And when people grasp that this is literally non-stressful cardiac exercise as well as stimulating connective tissue strength, stimulating proprioception, whatever else you do. You can be rowing all day, for hours afterward. You can be playing golf and walking miles on an irregular surface, and you'll have less chances of twisting your ankle or falling. You can be doing powerlifting. It doesn't matter what else you do. If you do VibraSlim 2, you're going to lose more weight, you're going to build up more muscle, you're going to have less chance of injuries. If all the athletes, say in the NFL and NBA, who are really good athletes, were doing VibraSlim more during their exercise return, they'd have far less injuries, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah. And, a lot of the professional NFL teams, almost all of them use vibration exercise in their gyms. Olympic teams are using them, and these are people in top physical shape. So for an average Joe who gets on one of our machines, the results are drastic. The Olympic athletes are using it because they're so far, getting another couple % of fitness is almost impossible because they push their bodies to the limit. But they use the vibration because it works their bodies in a different way and pushes them to a whole nother level they couldn't reach by doing more running or more weightlifting or anything like that. So it really does have an amazing effect on us average people who aren't top athletes.
Well, what it does, too, is it prevents micro-injuries becoming macro-injuries where you tear something apart like your shoulder. It helps to stimulate normal proprioception and muscle firing patterns. It stimulates the healing process to perfuse the tissues better and to speed the regeneration of collagen, elastin, hyaluronic acid, etc. So if you're taking our nutraceuticals, like Joint Performance and Tendon Mender, Collagen Max, and Mountain Red Velvet, you're taking our things for regeneration of any organ. Again, VibraSlim releases your stem cells. It's a very powerful stimulant. So it is, I can tell you, this sale is amazing. We're getting lots of people VibraSlimming. And if you want to stay well, walk well, any other kind of exercise you're doing, you need to VibraSlim. Just go to the front page of Nutrimedical, hit the main link, and you're there. Back, and we have on the program Dr. Bob Dennis. And by the way, we had a number of people really interested in ordering directly by phone to get a micropulse. We've had people with strokes and MS and elderly citizens that don't have computers. The order line number for micropulse is 919-667-8818. Again, I'll repeat that, 919-667-8818. And if you want to use the code Dr. Deagle, DR Deagle, you're going to save $30. So the micropulse device now, the price dropped from the Somopulse, which is around $1,400 now, to, with our special, it's under $400. So you can't beat that. We've dropped $1,000 in the price here to get the micropulse, which will stimulate your controlling pain, stimulating stem cell regeneration and healing. It's just, and again, you want to take the nutraceuticals with it because a combination of the right signal and the right substance, and we talked about this last time, Dr. Bob, I want you to repeat that signal and substance message, because I think people need to realize the epigenetic signal, and this is the main part of my talk, which I'm giving in Las Vegas this December, is it's the signal-to-noise ratio that determines disease states and aging. Aging is a signal-to-noise ratio, and you know this in engineering principles, is what's called nonlinear signal-to-noise ratio mathematics. It's called stochastic neural net, if you want to call it mathematics, principles that explain what aging is. What you're doing is putting in the right signal, so with the right substance or nutraceuticals, which are metabolically activated, you can't get this in an organic diet, you can with NutriMeds, you would then have the amazing synergy of signal and substance to heal. And you can heal at any age. You can be 80 with a chronic problem, and with the right signal and substance, which are NutriMeds, you're going to heal. So Dr. Bob, explain that again for us.
Sure. Thanks, Bill. The basic message is that when let me give you an analogy that's exactly apt for that. When you're young, it's sufficient, generally speaking, when you're very young, in your teens or 20s, it's sufficient to eat a good diet and exercise. And either one by itself is really not enough. You can eat a perfectly good diet, but be completely sedentary and do nothing. So you're getting the right substance, you're not getting the right signal, which is exercise. Okay. Similarly, you could exercise all you want, but then eat a poor diet. So in that case, you're getting the right signal, the exercise, but you're not getting the right substance, nutrition. Okay? Now, the situation does change as you get older, and we discussed this last time we talked last week. The signals that are required to elicit the kind of response you want from your cells in your body change as you get older. We all know this. We respond differently to exercise. We have different nutritional needs. And this is why, as we get older, we all need to take supplements and engineered nutraceuticals. And that industry has become pretty sophisticated, as you know, just as a listener to the program. The other half of the story is, and we all know this as we get older, it's very difficult to exercise. You have to exercise harder and longer, and you're much more likely to injure yourself as you get older. So the whole purpose of ISIS, the way that it's designed, is that it simulates the signals that tissues see when you exercise. That's the secret. That's the work that I did for my PhD. That's the work that I've done in research since then in tissue engineering, is what signals do tissues need to see in order to develop and grow strong. That's been my research for 25 years. So they are very similar signals to what you'd see in exercise. It's just that the physical act of exercising also causes mechanical damage and harm. As we get older, it takes a longer time to recover from that exercise, the mechanical part of it. We get the positive signals, but we also get the injury. So the magic of ISIS, the magic of our special device, is that it provides those exercise signals to a tissue that you're stimulating, but that tissue doesn't get the damaging mechanical signals that come with the actual physical act of exercise. So what you do is you use the ISIS to elicit the signals that you need in the tissue so that it responds by growing and getting stronger.
That's pretty amazing.
What you do not
of course,
want is to do just that without the right substance. You have to actually have the right additional things added to your diet that you take through engineered, advanced nutraceuticals. If you do those two things, then you benefit. Absolutely, you benefit the best.
Yeah. Now, what's neat about this is that I would assume also the micropulse would reverse a lot of the abnormal signals coming from scalar pollution from cell phones, Wi-Fi networks, and electropollution, which is also a very good thing.
I don't know if it reverses that. I do know.
I would assume.
We do good evidence that it actually competes favorably against it. And it's sort of like replacing a bad habit with a good habit. You don't necessarily have to kill the bad habit. What you do is you just replace it with a good habit. And your cells get into things they call states. They're either in a growth state or a decay state. And there are subtle levels in each one of those. But if you promote a growth, regeneration, repair state, you can make the cells less responsive to the negative signals. And so they become increasingly responsive to the positive signal because that's the state that the cells are in. And those are the signals they then have relearned to become responsive to. And when you lose your ability to exercise, those signals become washed out. What little exercise you get becomes overwhelmed by and washed out by the negative signals of being sedentary or, unable to walk, unable to move. And that's part of the problem. That's why it becomes a vicious circle. So what ISIS does is it gives you the ability to simulate activity and exercise signals that you see in your musculoskeletal system, your muscles and your bones. And that's about 65 or 70% of your body weight right there.
Well, you were highly motivated yourself because with all your science background, it's like when I am challenged with health issues myself, I've come to use functional medicine to heal and prevent illness in my own body. And, for example, there's a genetic tendency in my family toward diabetes. I'm not diabetic because I take none of the nutraceuticals. I have a brother who turned diabetic 27 years ago as a pharmacist. He's taking conventional therapies.
Yeah, he's still diabetic, right?
He's diabetic. He's very badly diabetic. Now, the thing is that I would, if I wasn't taking nutraceuticals, probably turn diabetic 25 years ago because it's in my family. The thing is you don't have to read from the wrong books. If you think, well, the doctors told me I need a total knee replacement, first thing I tell them is, number one, get an orthopedic surgeon to flush out and clean out and deburr and smooth out the surfaces with arthroscopy. Then start put in a Highland injection that gives you an immediate hyaluronic acid polymer. It's a 6 million molecular weight polymer made from rooster combs. Start taking our nutraceuticals like Collagen Max, Tendon Joint Performance, etc., Mountain Red Velvet, but then put the right signal in there to say to the stem cells and the chondrocytes, etc., laying down new cartilage, hey, it's time to act like a fetus. It's time to act like a 20-year-old that now is going to regenerate the joint. So if you get a micro-injury, you heal it. So at the next game, a week or 2 weeks hence, that joint's healed. So you're not going to get continued micro-injuries and fractured cartilage or we call fibrillated fragments that fly off the joint surface and eventually calcify and act like micro-razor blades. The key issue, and this is why older athletes retire, it's not because they're not better athletes mentally, it's because their physical body, they can't tolerate the accumulated micro-injuries. And this is a good part of what we call aging and disease, is actually not reversing that rate of healing so that now you're in a steady state where you're not deteriorating, you're actually improving the joints, you're stopping the pain, you're stopping this muscle splinting, you're improving muscle strength and perfusion, you're improving joint connective tissue strength, you're improving solid organs. You can put it over your liver. You can put the micropulse over your liver. If you have hepatitis, you can put it over your kidneys if you've got renal dysfunction. I tell people, take our nutraceuticals to regenerate your tissues and stimulate your stem cells, and put your micropulse over your kidneys. If you've got renal dysfunction, you say, I want to improve kidney function, put the micropulse on there, wear it during the day. You're going to stimulate your stem cells. Your kidney function with the nutraceuticals and the micropulse will start to improve over time. That's how powerful this technology, the signal and the substance, what a powerful metaphor to explain what we're doing. Remarkable technology, micropulse, under 400. The call-in number to place your order now, we get that number is 919-667-8818, 919-667-8818. Dr. Bob will be back tomorrow and Friday to continue explaining this amazing breakthrough in science called the micropulse. The E9A, I believe it's called. The latest version.
Model A9A.
Excellent. We'll be back in a moment with hour number 3 with Kim Alexander tomorrow. Harley Schlanger and Jonathan Gray will be back from New Zealand on Dead Men.